all of a sudden, essentially a faceless man shows up at my door asking me to look at his face, which I can't do because he's not showing me his face. And I clearly perceive blood dripping from not his face, but just like, right? Like just, I think you might have heard me say this guy's bleeding everywhere.
Yeah, you told me.
Yeah.
And that is very strange.
Now, I hang up with you. I am utterly fucking flummoxed right now, and you're about to hear it in my voice. By the way, this is all just happened 5 seconds ago, 5 minutes ago, whatever. It just happened. We recorded it. I'm just back. I only took a 5-minute break to call Drake back. So I hang up with you and I go to call the police. But before I do, I'm like, I just need to go outside and get a look at this guy because the police are going to ask me for a description. And it felt to me, if I was to interpret this as a normal event, it felt like him and somebody else were having a fight down in the river. And for some reason, he came to my open door to ask for help. And I was asking him, like, do you need an ambulance? Do you need the police? Do you need an ambulance? Do you need the police? It's so weird because he left more or less in the same direction that the Fae left, the Fae/people who are Fae, I believe, left during the Katie pre-episode start as well. And so he was moving in that direction. I hang up with you. I can see him through my bay window moving off into the left now, away from me. I'm presuming because I'm telling him off, more or less, which you can hear. But I'm actually somewhat like worried about this guy on some level because I just he did look like he was pouring blood everywhere and he somehow was asking me for help at my door, which was so fucking strange. But anyway, it just something about me was like I should maybe there's not much I can do. I can barely walk. I walk with 2 canes. But still, I tried to go. So I went outside real quick. And this is what I don't understand right now.
Yes, and many children see them too. About 75% of the world's children today are being born with etheric vision. And when your children talk with people and have daydream playmates, the chances are they are actually speaking to some of these people. Because these angels or angelic forces or nature spirits, as they're often called, will often make themselves seen.
And all of a sudden I hear him go, whoa, or, something like that. So I look up, and as I look up, I see this thing.
And I said, I've never seen a butterfly like you before.
I know that the paranormal is real. Listen.
As soon as I spoke to it, it turns around and makes eye contact with me. And then it stands upright.
And it was at that moment that I saw it was like an orange light appear above this row of trees. And from this sort of orange light, this thing appeared. Its wings were actually like sycamore leaf shaped.
And I started talking to them. I'm like, hi, are y'all the dwarves? And I would hear whispers that would say, hi, yeah, you want to play? And it wasn't just my imagination. And I had told them, I'm like, my dwarves, they like beer, And my dad's like, yeah, sure, your dwarves like beer. And they were holding a conversation, and his beer slid upwards instead of downwards, how the house was tilted. And him and my brothers jumped up.
So I stopped calling out Adam, and I'm just my mind draws a blank, and I stop behind that tree stump. I'm pretty close to it now because I took a few steps forward, and I see this thing.
Welcome everybody tonight to Fascinating Fae. Tonight, we're traveling to the very middle of the United States, the great state of Colorado. One of my favorite states, in fact. I've been there a few times. And we're going to be talking with Drake tonight. Drake, how are things in Colorado this evening?
Things are great. It's pretty chilly, but I love the chill, so.
You know what? I kind of wouldn't mind. It's pretty hot here.
Yeah, that's fair.
Now, just to try our best to not do the thing that every podcast does ever, which is talk about the weather.
Of course.
I will I'll continue with my little introduction here, if that's okay with you. So tonight in Colorado, we're going to hear from Drake, something that I'm really excited to dig into. In part, we're going to hear about fairy music, and I'll just leave it there. Drake, couple things that I like to say at the top of the show. Usually I say this at the top of the show because you never know who's tuning in and listening for the first time and maybe dropping in right now. Here on Fascinating Fae, we do not try to convince anybody of anything. I don't really think that's necessarily possible with the Fae, per se. So that's not the point here tonight. It's not really like a scientific instrument. There's no pressure with regards to like proving this. What we are here to do is we're here to collect these amazing stories. I also like to tell people, you know, I saw a fairy in 2019, and before I did not have a high regard of the subject of fairies, to say the least. I thought it was kind of a joke for kids or something. It just wasn't even something that I really gave a lot of thought to because there's so many other things to think about. So if I were to talk about my fairy encounter tonight, I would sound incredible. I would sound hard to contextualize. And so, Drake, I have a lot of empathy for people that are going to tell me their fairy encounters because they can get weird. They can sound weird. Don't worry about that. The Fae are like that. I've come to learn. And so we're all good. And finally, you know, I just like to say that I do think it's brave to come forward with your story. I say that to pretty much all my guests, unless I forget to, but I do think it is brave to talk about the Fae because this particular paranormal topic, for whatever reason, is like the low rung on the ladder and catches the most flack, the most hate, and the most ridicule. And so all those touch points, you know, spoken to, I'll finish by saying we don't like to rush things here on Fascinating Fae either. So no gotcha moments. You're not here to prove anything. I would sound pretty wild if I told my own story. I think you're brave, and there's no rush. So in summary, if you would be so kind, Drake, take us into any and all experiences in a chronological fashion associated with the Fae. Allow me, as you're done, you know, talking about particular things, to ask some questions, and we'll move towards this fairy music, which I'm very interested to talk about how it occurred, what it sounded like, and more. But, you know, we'll get there. So if you would be so kind, just please walk us into a little bit about yourself and where things started with you and the Fae, if you'd be so kind, please.
Right. So I think the Fae have had a touch with me my whole life. And just because of where I grew up and the things that have happened in my life, I wasn't able to touch with that side of myself until I moved out here to Colorado. But my first proper Fae experience is the story that my dad tells me. I was drawing on the wall when I was a toddler, and he comes up to the drawing and he looks at it and he's like, "Huh, that kind of looks like a frog." And looking back at that memory, which I only remember the emotions of it, me drawing that frog, I was like, I'm bringing in my friends. I'm bringing my friends here. Because when he really looked at it, he was like, oh, he just summoned something. And it was just like, to me, to little me, I was like, this is my friends. I'm bringing him here, and he's gonna be on my wall and all pretty. And I think that frog might have been Faye, just from what I've heard on the story or on the podcast.
Just
Sorry.
a second. Hold on. There's someone here. What? I'm not expecting anybody at my door. Please go away.
No. It's kind of an emergency right now.
I don't know who you are, and there's no emergency that involves me inside my house. Do you need police assistance? What do you need?
A friend of mine. Hey, can you just come up and look at my face right now?
No, I don't want to be involved in what's going on. Do you need police assistance? Do you need something?
I need someone to protect somebody right now.
I can't fucking help you with that at all. If you need an ambulance, I'll call you an ambulance.
I don't need it.
Then do not come to my front door for any reason. Sorry, man.
Oh, it's all good. That's crazy.
Give me a moment. I'll be right back with you, Drake.
All right, sounds good.
Hey Drake, give me a minute. I think I have to phone the police. This gentleman is like got blood streaming out of his face, and he's screaming at his girlfriend. So I'm up and out of my seated position. Just give me 5 minutes. I'll call you right back. I hope you can hear me okay.
Yeah, sounds
Sorry
good.
about that. Just give me a second.
No, you're good.
I don't know why he came right up to my front door while I'm recording like that. That's so odd.
Hello. Get everything sorted out?
Okay, Drake. Well, yes and no.
Oh.
Let's talk fairies for a second.
Okay.
I know I was about to let you get into your story.
Do you want to start back at the top?
No, let's talk about what just happened because it's Fae related, I believe.
Okay.
And here's why. First of all, you heard that person outside, yes?
Vaguely, I couldn't make out any words.
Okay, I'll try to bring it up in the audio, but you could hear that someone was out there. First of all, jump scares are not my thing with my spinal injury, so I don't like that kind of thing. And that was a weird, super weird experience. So I'm lying here and I'm starting the interview with you. By the way, for the audience listening, I'm going to do some editing to bring this all into context here. Drake and I were talking about how I was sharing with him how I think the Fae are showing up during episode production. Now, you're not very far into my catalog, Drake, and that's cool. I do appreciate you being a new listener. I appreciate everybody who's a new listener. Thank you for tuning in to Fascinating Fae. But in a recent episode, I had a very strange occurrence where there was a fight outside my door at the start of an episode. And I went outside and a very weird series of events ensued. And it was totally Fae related, and it made up like an hour plus of discussion in the episode with Katie is what I'm referring to. No spoilers for anyone. Just go back and listen to this episode with Katie, episode 30 and 31. It was a two-parter. Now, what just happened there was really weird. So I'm starting the episode with you. And specifically when you're talking about summoning, bringing your friends in.
Yes.
Is when that person showed up outside my door. And I'm going to describe for you what happened because I know you could only partially hear it.
Okay.
Someone goes, hello, hello. And that, first of all, is really weird. Let's just set the picture. I live in like a 280 unit massive condominium building.
Yeah.
there are at least 5 patios on the ground floor. Everybody's got their door open because it's super hot out tonight, like I just mentioned at the top of the show. So maybe it does become relevant to talk about the weather.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, there's somebody at my door, my open door, looking into my house. And it's a person with a hat on and long gray hair. And they're saying, hello, hello. And I bolt up from my seated position because this is crazy town for me. Like, what the hell is this going on right now? And they back off. They come back down my steps. And now they say the following things. They say, first of all, I'm yelling. You can probably hear me yelling clearly because I'm upset and I've just been triggered. Oh, yeah. Sorry for sounding like such an asshole there. Did not know what was going on, and that was not good for me.
Yeah, you're totally fine.
Yeah, anyway. Generally speaking, as host of this show, I'm creating a safe environment. So for everyone that just had to hear that, I'll leave it in there because it's valuable listening, but sorry that you had to hear me be that way. I'm in a lot of pain bolting up like that, and there's a stranger at my door, which is not okay. They've come across a gate to come onto my patio out of nowhere. So I'm like, who are you? I'm not expecting you, is pretty much what I recall saying. And they're like, they say like, this was what was really weird. When I first got up, they were already moving back from my door somewhat, and I couldn't see their face. And they had this long gray hair that was partially obscuring their face, and their hat very low. So I really just couldn't see their face. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to determine what this person wants or needs. And he says to me, he says, I need your help protecting me from somebody right now. What a weird thing to have come to your door, right?
Oh yeah, that is very strange.
And you can hear me yelling. I'm like, I don't want any part of that. I don't want anything to do with that, is basically what I'm saying. Fuck off is probably also what you can hear in there. And then he says to me, just take a look at my face right now. But as he says it, he is totally tilting his hat down and his hair is totally covering his face. And then he's like, I'm bleeding everywhere. And I can hear like a confrontation happening down in the river. And by the way, for you, Drake, I live looking out onto what I could best describe as like Ferry Highway. I look out onto a river with 3 waterfalls. There's a bridge over those waterfalls right out my door. On the other side of that bridge is a set of train tracks, and everything lets out to the ocean in about a block, just for starters. And the building got built on what was used to be the First Peoples' traditional summer village site. And my unit faces a tree structure that I've since come to understand is a ferry door. And owls and other interdimensional activity have come right out of that ferry door, which is directly aligned with my patio entrance. So there's that. So we just started our episode. You're talking about summoning in your friends. All of a sudden, essentially a faceless man shows up at my door asking me to look at his face, which I can't do because he's not showing me his face. And I clearly perceive blood dripping from not his face, but just like, right? Like just, I think you might have heard me say this guy's bleeding everywhere.
Yeah, you told me.
Yeah.
And that is very strange.
Now, I hang up with you. I am utterly fucking flummoxed right now, and you're about to hear it in my voice. By the way, this is all just happened 5 seconds ago, 5 minutes ago, whatever. It just happened. We recorded it. I'm just back. I only took a 5-minute break to call Drake back. So I hang up with you and I go to call the police. But before I do, I'm like, I just need to go outside and get a look at this guy because the police are going to ask me for a description. And it felt to me, if I was to interpret this as a normal event, it felt like him and somebody else were having a fight down in the river. And for some reason, he came to my open door to ask for help. And I was asking him, like, do you need an ambulance? Do you need the police? Do you need an ambulance? Do you need the police? It's so weird because he left more or less in the same direction that the Fae left, the Fae/people who are Fae, I believe, left during the Katie pre-episode start as well. And so he was moving in that direction. I hang up with you. I can see him through my bay window moving off into the left now, away from me. I'm presuming because I'm telling him off, more or less, which you can hear. But I'm actually somewhat like worried about this guy on some level, because I just like, he did look like he was pouring blood everywhere, and he somehow was asking me for help at my door, which was so fucking strange. But anyway, it just, something about me was like, I should maybe, there's not much I can do. I can barely walk. I walk with 2 canes, but still I tried to go. So I went outside real quick, and this is what I don't understand right now. Where this guy was headed is, for those that aren't in Canada, it's about 15 feet, or about 100 meters or something like that. Or I can't remember how it is. It's not very far. Half a football field max. No, way less. It's only 1, 2, 3. It's only 3 units over. So not even a half a football field, a quarter of a football field of grass to the left of this building, 3 patio units, and then we're at the road, because I live on the side that's facing the park. So I go from this guy at my door. Now he's down my steps in front of my patio. I have a clear line of sight of this guy walking. I come out my door right now. This just happened. I come out my door. I come around the corner. First of all, I'm expecting to see blood all over my patio, and blood all over my steps, and blood all over the gravel leading up to my house. Nothing. Not a drop. Not a fucking drop. Nothing. And where this guy should be are 2 very attractive French girls asking my neighbor for directions with their iPhone out.
Oh.
And I said to him, did you just see that guy right now? And he looks at me, and they look at me, and are kind of like, no.
Oh shit.
And I'm like, but like, it looked to me as though those girls had just asked for directions from this guy. Like, I am not, I don't know, I'm getting hit with goosebumps here. I'm not saying that Faye shapeshifted from a bloody man to 2 French girls in the 2 seconds that I didn't have eyes on him as I came through the door. Because I was inside, I came out onto the patio, and then I resumed looking at him, and he was gone.
That is...
And my neighbor, who was also sitting on his patio, my neighbor to my left has been watching movies on his deck because it's so hot with his laptop out, is all of a sudden standing up and talking to 2 French girls, and no one has seen this guy.
This bloody mess of a guy. What the? Yeah. Huh.
Who was just screaming and being screamed at by me. And it was almost as though they hadn't even heard me yelling at him. It was true. I think that exchange there is another example of the Fae coming out of that Fae highway right in front of my house and showing up. And so I say that for 2 reasons. One, that just happened. Where's the blood? Where's that guy? It does not make sense. I know I don't move fast. It might have taken me 5 to 8 seconds to come through the door threshold. I literally just can't step through it like a normal person. But there's no way that he would be gone, and that those 2 pretty French girls, where did they come from? It's so strange. The whole thing was very strange. And I felt strange from the moment it started. When I'm lying here inside my house, I'm lying down. Why is this guy coming to my door? It's so weird.
That is very strange. I think, like you said, it's so perplexing because, like you were saying, these interactions with Faye are just so otherworldly that it becomes so hard to describe.
I've said numerous times I feel apologetic to the audience, sorry that I've lost all credibility because I just basically am saying that I see fairies like every time I lay down a track here. It feels like, and that doesn't feel authentic because prior to seeing my fairy in 2019, I had seen exactly 0 my entire 44 years of adult life prior to that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So now to be saying I just saw one when I'm starting to talk with you, do you know what I mean when I say I feel inauthentic or I feel like that? But that just did happen. So what am I supposed to make of that?
No, I totally understand. After my first encounter, I've been noticing them everywhere. I don't think it makes it any less inauthentic, like you said. I think it's very authentic, in fact.
I wonder what that brings up for you, what I just told you happened. Does it bring anything up for you? I'm curious. And then we'll get back to you into your linear storytelling. But I'm curious if that brings anything up for you. I'm just curious.
Well, there was this one time when I was little. I was looking out from my porch at the house that I grew up in. And there was a wall that separated the interstate from the community that I lived in. And up against that wall, I saw a shadow walking across it, and I just could not explain what was going on, but I knew something very weird. Like, it just felt kind of wrong, and I was like, all right, let me go back inside. Because there was no houses anywhere near it. There was nothing. It was just a shadow started walking across the wall and then disappeared.
The other day, after Katie's episode, I wondered out loud if the Fae can truly take a human form, as some people have told me they can. Mm-hmm. The thing I saw was a diminutive light being the size of an apple. So that was one thing. And I was thinking this out loud as I stood on the deck on a hot sunny day. And out of nowhere, this very strange woman appeared on the opposite side of the river, on the opposite side of this very big fallen log that it's very hard to get behind. And she appeared in a really strange way, and she popped out with this pixie haircut, and she was like dusting herself off like she had just arrived on Earth through a portal. I'm not even joking. And she was like, oh. And this arrival of her, inexplicably, essentially out of the river, startled this heron that lives right in front of the house here and fishes the pool. And the heron took off. And as the heron took off, this woman looks at him and goes, oh, hello, friend, and waves at him as he flies away. And I was watching this in utter amazement. I'm like, where did this woman come from? Why is she on the other side of this log, the size of a parked car? Like, what is she doing scrambling over this log? And I realized I was staring at her, so I looked away because I didn't want to be impolite. And I could just feel this burning urge to look back. And I look back, and she's furiously waving at me.
Oh.
More than 150 feet away, up the river, like at a weird angle where she's crouching so she can actually see me because there's a tree partially obscuring me, and she's furiously waving, and I wave at her. And off she goes under the bridge, never to be seen again, never to be seen since. I know the homeless people around here pretty well because I do live facing a park, and unfortunately we have an opioid crisis here like everybody else. And I think I even said fucking junkie at one point in that recording, which is unfortunate because I have a lot of compassion for people who've overcome opioid addiction. I'm one of them. So it's just a reaction to someone being at my door more than anything, and frustration for what at first felt like what's going on, and truly in this moment has become a little bit weirder of a start to the show than I intended. So sorry for that.
No, you're totally fine. I think that really kind of adds to the vibe, to be honest.
It certainly does. And whether or not that's just those French girls were there and the guy did make it around the corner and that was all just weird timing or not, the thing that sticks out to me the most is he just kept saying, is when he said to me, just take a look at my face right now. And as he said it, was totally obscuring the view of his face. It's really strange.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you were really getting into something cool there, talking about drawing the frog. And I'll let you get back in there by asking a quick question, and then maybe that'll help you jump back into that. So your dad had said, "Hey, this kind of looks like a frog."
Yes.
Is what I recall, right? Okay.
So he comes up to the drawing that I'm doing on the wall, and he like tilts his head at it, and he's like, "Huh, that's strange. It kind of looks like a frog." And then he really takes a deeper glance at it, and is like, "Oh shoot, he's summoned something." And I don't have a lot of memory of that because I was a toddler, but I do vaguely remember the drawing. It was very circular and swirly, and I remember just feeling like I was summoning a friend, bringing forth a friend from some other place.
Oh, very cool. I understand it better now on second telling. So maybe we were interrupted just for that reason alone.
Maybe.
It is totally eerie that you were talking about summoning right as that guy appeared at my door.
That is very interesting. I'm curious about what happened there.
Well, I just think there's more to you going on already, than you're even about to admit to. So sneaky, these fey people sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
One woman, Danielle, I said that to. She's the woman who caused things to move in my house by channeling a fey spirit into life through a doll. And as we talked about, the doll objects in my house moved. Also another on-record occurrence, of which, by the way, no spoilers, but there are many that I'll publish before this episode. And so we'll talk about the cards and Emma and how crazy that was by the time we get around to publishing this. We're going to talk about the synchronicities with this woman from Australia, Liz, and orbs. These are all teaser, non-teasers, because you're going to be published after. But
okay.
Anyway, so I get it now. I think that children kind of have like an uninterrupted vision into the realm of where fays emanate from. Do you agree with that? Do you think that kind of way too?
Oh, yeah, I totally agree. And I absolutely agree with you. And I think I have, not to like make myself seem bigger than I am, but as I've come out here to Colorado, I'm finding that I'm walking a very shamanic path. And before that frog memory, there was a period of time I was at my grandparents' house, and I ended up falling into the pool unsupervised. And that's my earliest memory, and the only reason that I had lived was because the water was so cold. And something that I'm learning about shamanism is that one of the, I guess, rites of passage, quote unquote, is a near-death experience. And so I think that experience, and then going into that, not only do kids have a deeper connection with the Fae, but I think with my already existing near-death experience, I was like, I don't know how to put it.
It's interesting. I'm getting quite a lot of goosebumps as I'm listening to you, just in part because I'll give you a tiny spoiler. So the police nearly killed me, and you don't know that because you're only on episode 5, and I really only talk about that in episode 22 with Claire. Essentially, extremely violently assaulted at gunpoint.
Yeah.
And at any juncture, I could have made a single wrong move and definitely been extinguished. That was being made clear to me throughout the entire event. And so that's as close as you can come to getting killed by the cops, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
And they physically rendered me totally disabled. But when I had the Fae show up as people with Katie, what happened was this. There was a fight outside my door. Does that sound familiar to you?
Yes.
And I went outside to investigate. And instead of 2 French girls, there was a police officer who showed up very suddenly. way too fast to have arrived on scene.
Okay.
Like the people were fighting, I was like, what was that? I went outside. I could see the people fighting a little bit, again, down in the river.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw them move off in one direction, and out of nowhere, this cop comes rushing over towards me, right towards my gate.
Oh. Okay.
And I'll leave it there, but I did command that cop off and away.
Yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah, I did, because I have learned to assert myself after being violently assaulted. And then after that, the most remarkable thing happened, which was a hummingbird and a robin came right out of the brambles and the ferry door that's opposite my patio and came right over to check on me. And then I got online with Katie, and she says to me, oh, I'm about to tell you a story about a hummingbird.
Oh, wow.
And the robin is my favorite bird. And she goes on to tell me that as a listener, she wanted to share with me that her boyfriend was also almost killed by the cops in an almost mirror event as mine.
Wow.
And when that guy came to my door, I was quite shook up, as you can hear in that recording. And I was saying, do you want me to call the cops? And the last thing I want to do is call the cops, because they nearly killed me. And I do think that, like, when you were just talking about falling in the pool and I got hit with this weird wave of goosebumps, it was connected to what just happened at my door on some level.
Huh.
I do think that the Fae know I'm very upset about the cops trying to kill me.
Yes.
Because every single day, my life is an utter fucking mess. It's so hard, truly. I'm not complaining, and I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm just being honest. Like you're saying, I'm not trying to sound bigger than I am. I think that nearly dying is transformative, Drake.
Yes, absolutely.
So you're not sounding that way at all. I hope I don't sound the same way too when I say that I think the Fae know I'm miserable, and that, you know, it sucks having your spine dislocate literally hundreds of times a day. I have spinal hypermobility. They crush so many vertebrae in my back. It's like every time I cough, sneeze, move, whatever, you know, it's like, it's excruciating, which is why I lie down to record. And so when that guy made me jump up, it's like very triggering of all that. It's triggering of the police assault. And so maybe the context, because I do think the Fae speak in type of like poetic, nuanced narrative.
Mm-hmm.
I think they fluctuate between omnipotent perspective as writer to first person, third person. Like if you're reading their book, they just jump around because they're kind of like, well, as I'm positing for this debate, I think they kind of show up however the hell they want. As a person, as a cop, as a dude with no face just now, as a bird. I mean, it's truly endless.
Well, let me tell you, right now I have this little cat that's been playing around me this whole time, and she's been playing in the grass, and she's getting her way closer to me, and it's been very fascinating to see this little cat, and she's just been watching over me. So
there you have it. I'm getting hit with goosebumps now too. So earlier I said I think the Fae think it's their show.
Absolutely. I agree with you now. Now that I'm seeing all of this happen, I agree with you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for saying that. That actually means a lot to me. Here I am trying to make you feel comfortable as the guest, and instead we're kind of having a moment.
I've never felt more comfortable.
That's really nice to say, and I feel the same way. I don't know how else to move through these experiences other than to say, it's just like, you know that joke, like Jesus take the wheel when a drunk is, you know, I just feel like the Fae take the wheel. Go ahead, boys.
Absolutely. Take this show for a whirl.
Yeah. You know, I've talked to a number of people who channel the Fae into various mediums, whether it's clay. I'm gonna say that I channel the Fae into this MacBook Air and into this GeForce mic. They certainly know when the show is happening, and I do think, just to finish up, because I don't want to talk too much during your episode here, my friend, I think they've learned technology. I think it took them a minute, and I do think the Fae have learned mics, internet. I think they've learned digital displays. I think they've learned a lot, and I do think in one particular circumstance, emanating out of the UK, there's a gnome named Grimble Grumble who's been moving through technology, including stored MP3s of episodes that he is talked about in. Because the vast number of people that have talked to me about crazy stuff after playing that Grimble Grumble episode is totally countless. I mean, I'm getting into like 50 emails about weird stuff in association with listening to that episode. So I can't even bring everybody on that has had a trip out after listening to this show, because it's like a ripple effect, I guess. Mm-hmm. That's why I know it's not me, because I'm not supernatural. I can't do that. So maybe the Fae are hitching a ride on me talking and you talking with me. Let's keep an eye on that cat. I'm going to keep an eye on the faceless entities at my door. But let's just move through a few quick questions I want to ask about. If it's okay, how old were you when you nearly died in that pool? Can I ask? Is that okay?
Oh, it's totally fine. I just can't remember. I want to say, yeah, very young. I want to say like 1 or 2, around there. And then I want to say that 3 or 4 is when I summoned the frog.
Interesting. I really think that there's a lot to that, and maybe this concept of liminal, which comes up a lot in Fae talk, that idea of like the liminal space, it did present itself as a comment and an insight from a guest as we were talking about liminal spaces, because I was actually talking about that weird lady who showed up and waved at the heron. Yeah. And we were talking about the list of liminal spaces, because I have the train tracks, the waterfalls, the bridge, etc. Mm-hmm. And we kept going down that list, and I realized, thanks to her help, that me and almost dying, that I've come back, that I am a liminal space, because I'm totally, yes. If that makes any sense.
That makes so much sense. You just gave me so many goosebumps.
Because you rebuild after that in a way that was previously not charted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My parents tell me I was afraid of the water for the longest time after that.
Well, now I have the goosebumps. Wow. Mm-hmm. Whoa. We traded them.
Yes, we did.
Whoa. Cool. Okay. Those are also a sign that the Fae are around, or that deeper meaning is being touched on. Mm-hmm. Those full body waves of goosebumps. They happen. They really happen.
Yes, they do.
I hope everybody gets to feel that at the very minimum. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm with you there. I do think that nearly dying brings apart a change that can be like an opportunity for that which in us, which is natively there. I'm not trying to say nearly dying unlocks a superpower or something like you're Spider-Man and you got bit by a toxic spider, but kinda.
Yes, kind of.
That's a bad analogy. Who's a superhero that just gets their natural shit woken up? There's a lot of them, but you get the idea.
I mean, maybe Superman, because he comes to Earth in the sun.
There you go. Perfect example. The change of liminality for him from one planet to the other is the trigger of his superpowers, basically.
Yep.
And the change to his fate. Very, very well done. That's nice. Yeah. Forgive me for trying to throw Spider-Man into that bad analogy.
It's all good, man.
Yeah. One thing I will hand to those two guys is they both held down day jobs, so.
That's very fair.
Yeah, they both worked at the newspaper, I think, actually, too, so. Didn't Peter Parker work at the newspaper, and so did Clark Kent? They sure both did.
Yes.
So. Well, there you have it. Anyway, moving on, that idea of like liminality and that idea of art as channel are two things that prior to seeing a fairy, I also didn't really even think about wouldn't have given serious consideration to if someone tried to present it to me in a dialogue. Here we are, and I'm saying that's the best I can lean on for what's going on here is you're talking about truth, and the Fae show up kind of like in a dance around that somehow. Does that make sense? I think,
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I understand.
yeah, like they like it when they're getting talked about truthfully.
Yes. That's kind of what these cats have been doing, because I just noticed another one, and they're just playing around in the grass, kind of like a dance.
Okay, just to add to the weirdness, I totally just wasted my time looking for the sound in my recording, and obviously I couldn't find it. But as I found the part that I said coincidences, my actual legit washing machine beeped 3 fucking times.
If I could see what the eagles saw when they circled my mother on the day I was born. As she walked by the creek, it was a labor of love. I give thanks to my family for raising me right as they did. Now I'm grown and I'm ready to fly like the eagle glides, so close to Creator, sits on the top of my totem and watches me go. If I could speak to the spirit in me just a little more often, then maybe I'd see that the spark of the source exists in the breath that we breathe in the trees. And in each of the leaves there's a pattern that's perfect. The fractals emerging, the codes of creation. And in this vibration we walk around aimlessly, hungry to know the divine. First there was light, then there was dark, then there was light, and then there was dark. First there was light, and then there was dark, then there was light, and then there was dark. And if I could walk where the ancients rode, on the backs of their horses they galloped in droves, and the armies of darkness collide and explode, and they fight to the death till they capture the throne. In the wake of the battle came music and poems. Art and invention changed all that we know, and humanity rose to the next episode on the line. First there was light, and then there was dark. First there was light, and then there was dark. Then there was light, and then there was dark. First there was light, and then there was dark. Ah, ooh.